Welcome back, everyone, to another edition of Pat's Travel Pass. We're picking up our flight adventure in Denver, and we'll be headed all the way to Frankfurt in Lufthansa's business class. Come join us. So, like I mentioned, we're picking our journey up in Denver International Airport, and we are in business class. However, this is the only United hub without a Polaris lounge, unfortunately. So instead, we're going to go check out United's brand new lounge, regular United lounge in their B concourse here. Denver is kind of like Atlanta, but about half the size in terms of piers that they have. There's only A, B, and C here in Denver versus in Atlanta. I feel like it keeps going through almost half the alphabet. But here we are in the brand new lounge. Great plane spotting. You get all of United's heavies domestically and internationally, as well as some of the Europe carriers like Lufthansa, British, and Air France. Now, we did check out the lounge in the A concourse, which you can see here across the way. It was actually really quaint and easy to find seating, really quiet. So we actually preferred that lounge over this brand new one, which had quite a bit of hustle and bustle behind us. And here we are, our 15-year-old A340-600 that will be taking us all the way over to Frankfurt. Total flight time ended up being 8 hours and 50 minutes, just long enough, I think, to be worth it. A little bit shorter, and you kind of run into issues with dinner, sleep, and breakfast. And check out the sunset. I mean, it was gorgeous watching the sun go down and all of this beautiful plane spotting occurring. This is my first time ever flying on an A340, so I was really happy to check this off of my airplane bingo card just before they go out of service someday. To recycle back to the lounge, alcohol, basic cocktails, beer and wine were for free, so we definitely utilized that in our long layover here in Denver. I'll tell you a little bit about how we booked this for 80,000 United miles each one way. But we finally got that text that it's time to board our flight. So we headed downstairs from the lounge, took the train over, and waited on the opposite side of the moving walkways to board, just because, as you can see here, it was a madhouse. And apparently this was only for first and business and gold status and above, but it was crazy. So luckily here we have our own jet bridge as we finally get to board this bird. Check out this new footage, kind of new to the channel. Had a little body camera that I added to the arsenal. Now, as you saw there's 2 rows of Lufthansa first class, total of 8 seats. And then we get to our row 3 business class, A and C. There's about 8 rows behind us, a galley with bathrooms, and then another couple rows of business class behind that. We chose the bulkhead here to get a little bit more foot space, so we recommended that. It was also very quiet. Here's a picture of our seats. As you can see, you hopefully know your partner, because you're definitely feeling a bit like premium economy in terms of proximity. I would compare it to United's Premium Plus or their purple seats in terms of proximity to your partner. However, as you can see here, the seat is ever adjustable and it lays flat, given the footwell down there at the end. And we quickly got comfortable checking out the seat and some of the goodies we have, water bottle for each of us, and then a Porsche design amenity kit, which pretty much had all of your basic amenities, and we'll dive into that a little bit later. And now we have our welcome beverage. Love to see champagne for my wife on the right, and then I went with the Avionic, which I've never heard of, but apparently it is Lufthansa's signature drink. Definitely enjoyed it, so I would recommend that, along with a bag of nuts. So that was kind of a nice little touch. I kind of liked the bag just so that it kept it contained. I guess some, like a heated cup would have also been a nice touch. Boarding was completed promptly, way better than any domestic airline, and we were on our way to Frankfurt. Now for baggage, we ended up checking ours through our United domestic leg, but it was checked all the way through to our final destination. I did do some research, and you do get 2 free checked bags. Now let's listen in to all 4 engines rev up and get us out of Denver. We were treated to some views as we left, heading north. So this wasn't Denver, but another town locally. And for a timestamp, 20 minutes to the dot after takeoff, we received a hot towel, which was a nice touch, and then got to choose our main course as well as our appetizer. Perused through the entertainment system, which on my previous Lufthansa first class review, I mentioned it wasn't as good, but honestly, this was way better. I had plenty of options to watch and was never short of anything. So I felt much better with the selection. And here we are, a physical menu card. Love that touch versus a online one or no menu at all. And here's a look at what we're offered. For appetizers, you had to pick one of the 3, and then the main course, you obviously pick one as well. Cheese and dessert, pick one as well. It's nice to have plenty of options for the first meal. I was kind of impressed with that. We also started with an amuse-bouche, which was not on the menu, but a nice touch. Here are some of the wines. I do like that they have 6 different wines. I feel like that's a pretty healthy mix to pick from. I feel like, at least on my recent flights, it's really been only like 1 white and 1 red, so the options haven't been as wide. Along with plenty of beer, soft drinks, and liqueurs, you can really come up with anything you want. I generally stick to wine and beer on international flights like this, unless I'm on a domestic carrier. But started off with some red wine along with the amuse-bouche. It was some cheese as well as some vegetable. Didn't really know exactly what it was, but together it was pretty tasty. And here's a look at my wife's starter. She got the shrimp and scallop along with a garden salad and a bread roll of your choice. I went with the beef carpaccio. I will say that both of these were very tasty. Even the salad, it just felt pretty refreshing after being in the lounge and eating some of the buffet food. And I do like that they have these little salt shakers with the Lufthansa logo on it, and that it is separate from the main course. I think that's a really nice touch that they continue to do. So we had the amuse-bouche by itself, and then we had our appetizer and salad. So we're already on to tray number 2 with the entree and dessert to come. So I really like the service being spread out. To circle back on the amuse-bouche, that was served 40 minutes after takeoff, so pretty prompt, I would say. I think usually US carriers will take a little bit longer, but as you can see here, appetizer salad was excellent. My wife was not as big of a fan, but what do I know? A quick pivot to some white wine as well as a cleaned off tray table. Kept our original silverware because they gave us 2 forks and 2 knives. And here is the shrimp entree with some vegetables. My wife actually ordered the jumbo ravioli, and so they did mess up their order or her order and just rolled with it. So she's a trooper for that, but yeah, they didn't even realize. Here I got the chicken along with a sauce and a grain with some asparagus. It was actually really good. I liked it quite a bit. And then pivoted to our 3rd different wine tonight. My wife and I were sharing it, so I wasn't just drinking the whole glass by myself. Dessert options, fresh fruit or cheese plate, or I believe it was a chocolate option. Went with something a little bit more savory, as I knew I would be getting ready for bed. A couple more timestamps for you. We received the appetizer an hour and 20 minutes after takeoff, and the main was an hour and 30 minutes after takeoff, and dessert was almost 2 hours after takeoff. So all in all, 2 hours from start of the service to the end. We also received these little chocolates at about 2 hours and 15 minutes in. And so by the time we were really all completed, we were looking at 2.5 hours by the time I went to go check out the restroom, which had some nice amenities here, some lotions and potions, but pretty much a standard size bathroom, pretty tight. Worth noting, no pajamas on this flight, and no slippers either. Now here's a look at the economy bathroom. This was one of the highlights, funny enough, that I was looking forward to, is just seeing how economy restrooms are all in the bottom deck. So you actually have to take the stairs down, and from pictures I've seen, there's about 5 or 6 restrooms down there, and that's just what economy has, and it creates a little bit more space up top. Now let's talk about the business part of this, the bed. Footwell, a little snug on the left to right. I will mention the seat is a bit narrow as well. Vertically though, it wasn't too bad. Your feet are able to kind of move up into that little crevice, but I would think as a side sleeper, your feet would have some trouble. Hot towel after dinner as well, which was very appreciated. And then we got down into bed. They give you a couple pillows as well as a duvet cover. And they keep their cabins pretty dang toasty, so I was more than warm the whole time. I really needed to take off my sweatshirt. Funky thing here on the left side of the seat, plugging in the headphones. Pretty difficult for your own headphones, so just be wary of that. Got about 5 hours of uninterrupted sleep, and it was time for breakfast, I think, from the looks of it, which the looks were pretty dang rough for breakfast. And I'm not a fan for breakfast or secondary meal on this flight, but man, it had to have tasted better than it looked, because there was no way that thing was presentable in business class. Also, this little side salad, I just ate the cheese because who eats vegetables for breakfast? But yeah, not too bad. Let's take a look now at the amenity kit. So, earplugs, need those. Some lotion, which kind of fumbled there. Not too bad. You kind of need that for dry hands. Eye mask, that's a requirement, I would say. Nothing out of the ordinary. Toothbrush, that's required. Although I could not get the toothpaste open, so I ended up having to throw that away and use my own toothpaste that I brought along for the ride. We got some socks, which was a nice touch. Didn't realize that until the flight was almost over. A refreshing towelette, and a mint, which I really like the mint. I think it gives you an option of, maybe I don't have enough time to brush my teeth until I get to the lounge after I land, and you can just roll with the mint to at least be a tad more presentable. A nice little touch is, as we were leaving, similar to those chocolates that they gave us after dinner, they gave us these little box of 4 chocolates each, and they are so good. So I was a big fan of that. Now we're circling back to the bedding. Here is the blanket, or I think I called it a duvet, but relatively thin, but man, it kept in a lot of warmth, and it was definitely plush. If you balled it up, you could really create a nice ball if that's something that you'd rather sleep on versus this pillow, just to get the right comfort level. Between the two of those though, I slept pretty good, and maybe that's the wine, but yeah, not too bad. Here are the headphones. I didn't use them because they're not over the ear like the ones that I bring. They're a little bit below what I would expect business class headphones to be. Also taking a peek up there, no air vents, which is a classic Airbus wide body move. And we finally got over Great Britain and mainland Europe and made our way down into Frankfurt. Gorgeous day here in the winter, and since we took off in the night, this was my first view of one of our 4 engines out the left side. Now this channel has flown into Frankfurt and out of Frankfurt quite a bit. So when I saw the airport field from this view, I knew we were in for a treat, but also a long taxi. We're landing on Frankfurt's super far west runway, but you get these awesome views of the 747s and the entire airport here. So I can't complain, although the taxi is quite long. But pilot absolutely butters the landing, and we finally made it just short of 9 hours. So, a little bit of plane spotting as we arrive, and a little sneak peek of what's to come on the channel next. That's right, we're reviewing Lufthansa's first class again to see how they stand up a year later, and we're doing it in a new seat. So stay tuned for that, that's coming soon. It really doesn't get old coming into Frankfurt with all these gorgeous 747-8s. Frankfurt's quite a treat to plane spot at. Alright, so how did we actually book this itinerary? So, for December 22nd, when we were departing, I was looking to leave from San Francisco, which I would call our home airport, and from San Francisco to Vienna, which was our end destination. I was getting 200,000 United points each, as you can see here. Pretty expensive. However, I'm using LAX right now as an example of the cheapest fare that you could get for international business through United, at least for long haul business. So this is an example of LAX. However, we booked from Sacramento to Vienna. Sacramento is about a 90-minute drive from San Francisco, but from where we are, it wasn't too much of a difference. So we made that sacrifice in order to get a cheap flight. And so 80,000 points, that is one United card if you catch it at the right time. That is an awesome way to redeem for a flight like this. You could find it on Polaris or Swiss or Turkish. Many of the Star Alliance partners for 80,000 points is doable. So in terms of a $3,000, $4,000 flight like this, you're getting incredible value for one credit card sign up. So that's how you can fly on this product or similar products yourself. You don't just have to watch it through a screen. So I highly recommend you look into it and do your own research. And I think we'll catch each other in the skies. We'll see you next time.